All right, what's up, y'all? Just want to do a quick little update on how we're doing in terms of our fitness and stuff like that. So, last week, actually, I didn't go to the gym at all. I actually did not go to the gym at all. My back was kind of sore, so I didn't want to really tweak it or kind of push my body too much in terms of where I'm, kind of where I was. I didn't want to exacerbate it or make it worse. So I kind of took the liberty, honestly, of just giving myself some rest time, and that's really kind of the theme of today's video. Is I want to talk about kind of giving yourself that break, giving yourself that grace. And if you're wondering what these are, this is actually some paintings I did. I used to play Apex. I play Apex Legends a lot, so this is one of the characters I play. This is one of my paintings, so you'll be seeing that in my background, at least for today's video. But yeah, I mean, I was doing really well, and just randomly last Monday, my back, kind of middle of my back, was kind of sore. And I decided, you know what, I just want to take it easy. And just for the next couple of days, my back was real sore. I had done some work around the house, and my back was kind of just aching. And I eventually decided, like, after like the second or third day, I was just like, you know what, I'm taking this whole week off. I'm not going to sit here and try to like really push myself and then get re-injured or maybe make it worse. That was something I want to pass on to other people that are in the gym. If you have that injury or you're super, super sore, don't try to push yourself to the point where, I mean, there's been like sore, like, okay, you did a good workout and you're sore, and then you're feeling injured. Like my back was feeling like hurt, like it was hurt, you know? So I took the liberty to pretty much take a little bit of a break. I think, in my opinion, I think it actually made a difference. It's now Tuesday, the day after President's Day, and I'm planning to go to the gym this evening after work. And I actually wanted to also even break down some other stuff in terms of my diet and what I was eating over the weekend, because there was Valentine's Day on last Saturday, and there were a couple little cheat meals planned, but it kind of turned in a little bit more than what I thought. So first I will start, what was actually very nice about taking the break was I actually had weighed my lowest last week. So that was a cool note. I weighed 223. I think it was 223.4 or so, but I'm just gonna round down. I'm just gonna round down, give myself some grace, and I was about 223 that week that I didn't train, actually, which was kind of interesting. I was still pretty on my diet. I also have another video where I'll post where I was making a quesadilla. It's kind of like a chicken quesadilla, what I've been eating. Honestly, I was eating it probably 3 or 4 times a week because it was just something that I enjoyed. I could track it, and it was easy for me to make. And also, I miss Mexican food. So that was something that I've been kind of making for my own sanity and for my own diet and for my own thing that's easy, that I can do, something that I can do. So that was something I'll post a little bit later. But yeah, so I was doing that. I weighed my lowest. I'm excited to get back in the gym this evening. And then I want to tell you guys about my cheat meals as well that I had over this weekend. So sort of cheat meals and kind of just different strategies and kind of things that I'm also learning as I've kind of developed this new routine with my eating and this new training my body with, not necessarily training my body like just my muscles, but also training my gut and my stomach of like, okay, like recognizing when I'm full, or recognizing when I can eat more, recognizing when I'm at that 80% point where like if I ate more, I would feel disgusting, right? So for Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, I don't know why I keep calling it Thanksgiving. For Valentine's Day, me and my fiance, we went over to Outback Steakhouse, or Black Angus Steakhouse, sorry. I got I forget what cut of steak, but it was a steak, a baked potato, and it was 2 lobster tails. That was the main entree. Before that, we also had some appetizers, which was, I already forget at this point, but we had a bunch of different things. Like I think it was potato skins, probably some other fried stuff, I'm sure. We also I had a little bit of bread. I also had a Caesar salad as well. And then we also had some cake at the end. My fiance is also pregnant, so she was craving some cake. So we did end up getting two cakes, a cheesecake and a lava cake. So anyway, I kind of was, the way I was approaching it, and I thought I did pretty well, was I really was trying to focus on the entree. My mindset was like, you know what, the entree is going to come out. If I eat all this bread or I eat all these appetizers, I'm going to be too full to even eat any of it or finish it. Right, and actually that's ended up what happening anyways, but I had maybe a couple pieces of the bread. I had one potato skin, also because it was pretty good. I hadn't had like really starches and carbs in a long time. So I had that, and then I had a couple of the other, it was also like a shrimp cocktail was in there. It was kind of like a different combination of different things. So that was in there. I had some of that. And then I did eat like half, actually I ate half of the salad. Usually I eat like all the whole salad. My goal was like, I'm going to eat half of it. As the plates came out, my mindset was like, you know what, just eat half. Don't eat the full thing, which is a big mindset shift for me, because I'm usually a person where like when food is put in front of you, you finish it. So for me, that was a big shift, like shifting my mindset to that. And then when the actual food came, at that point I was already maybe 30% full anyways. So I had about half of the steak, I had one of the lobster tails, and I had maybe a couple bites of the baked potato already. And I could feel, I was like, okay, if I continue eating this, I'm going to be disgustingly full. And then also I knew that my fiance was going to get cake anyways. So I was like, well, I'm going to at least save a little bit of room so I have some, so I don't feel disgustingly full, And I find that really that's actually the point of like where you start kind of going, where for me, I start kind of going crazy with my calories and kind of like really, not, I don't want to say like, gaining weight, but like that's where the limits start being pushed, right? When you can physically feel it. And me listening to my body there, I think helped me a lot, because I was trying to remember those rules. You hear all these different kind of mindsets, and there's a Japanese, I think it's Japanese saying where, eat until you're 80% full, right? And not necessarily that I was so like into that mantra, but I kind of was hearing that in my mind. I was kind of talking to myself a little bit, and I was hearing that. And I knew that when we went out to eat, I didn't want to feel like disgustingly full. And we did have another cheat meal like the next day anyways, planned. So I kind of already knew that was going to happen. So that was a little bit my approach for that meal. Have it, enjoy it, but you don't have to finish the whole thing, right? And I'm always that person. I always got to finish the plate. And I've had even people tell me in the past, when I've gotten sick, not necessarily because I ate too much, but because like it was food poisoning or whatever, or, thinking that I had to finish a plate. I don't always have to finish the plate, and that's okay. And that's a healthy mindset to have, is that it's okay to not finish the whole thing if you don't want to. You can always take it home for leftovers and eat it later, So that's a little bit of a mindset shift that I actually felt like I applied very well. And then the next day, I kind of went all out. I was kind of just like, at that point I had, not necessarily that I was binging, but I knew that I was going to like have some kind of like a cheat, more like a full cheat day, where like I was like, really wasn't going to plan on tracking a lot of stuff. So the first meal was, I think we had like bacon and eggs, some sausages. This is all for breakfast. So, and some pancakes. And so I'll be honest with you, I tracked all those different things. I did not necessarily track certain things like the syrup of the pancakes. I knew that I wasn't doing that. And I was like, okay, this is going to go off the rails very quickly if I'm not tracking that, because I think it's like 50 to 100 calories per serving for the syrup. So I kind of already knew that was going to go off the rails if I didn't track that. And then later on, and then also too, my fiance had planned, like she bought us like a frozen pizza. We were going to eat that for dinner, and she wanted to make like a buffalo cheese dip, with cream cheese, chicken, and stuff like that too. So anyway, and with some chips. So obviously chips are going to be, the carbs and stuff, whatever, So anyway, I kind of planned that out. I was, not necessarily that I planned it, not necessarily I really tracked it, but really just to show that like it's okay to eat what you want. And then also just giving myself some grace, right? Like I had been pretty much strict, and I have been strict for the past, not strict, but I've been locked in for the past pretty much like a month and a half, really, of eating right, um, eating the same meals. I mean, obviously I have my cheat meals on the weekend, but I've been during the week and when I'm hitting the gym and when I'm feeling good and when I'm in my routine, I'm doing it. And I have my planned cheat meals and I have my planned cheat days. So it wasn't the end of the world that I was having some pizza. I think I might have had like maybe 6 slices of pizza, and I know that's a lot. Um, but it was okay, because I knew that I was already gonna do it. Giving myself the grace that you can be in a cut and still have your cheat meals, still have your cheat days. Am I competing for Miss Olympia? Am I shooting for 6% body fat? Not really. I'm really just trying to shoot for long-term success. And the long-term success for me is that, like, I don't know if I'm really gonna go my whole life without eating pizza. And I'm sure C-Bum is eating pizza, So for me, that's really what I want to do, is just kind of lose the weight and still be able to add in healthy things here and there. So adding in things, shifting my mindset, and giving myself the grace to be like, dude, it's okay. It's okay to have these meals that you want, and maybe just apply these mindsets and apply these strategies as you eat. Be be methodical, be mindful of what you're eating and when and how you're eating it, right? Like I said, for me, it was just like, okay, if it's in front of me, I got to eat it. Because growing up, it was always like, well, you better eat it because this is the only meal you're gonna eat, or well, I paid for it, so this is the meal, you better eat it. But now as an adult, I'm still learning. I'm gonna be 30 this year, so I'm still learning how to apply that to my eating, and apply it to my life in general, of just like giving myself the grace of like, dude, you've been grinding your ass, excuse my language, but you've been grinding for a month and a half. I think it's okay if you have some pizza. It's okay if you have a day where you don't track it, and then use those carbs and use that fuel the next day for your workout. Anyway, long story short, I didn't necessarily work out yesterday. I did go to the beach with my fiance, and we took our dog over there. And again, my fiance's pregnant, so I did a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, we still had some pretty good meals and stuff. I did bring like a protein bar with us. I was setting up the tent. We had a little tent, easy up with chairs, and I was running on the beach with the dog. I'm playing with the dog. I'm running up and down the beach with him too. So I was trying to do a little bit like of activeness. I mean, it wasn't like, okay, I'm doing some structured workout. It wasn't like that, but trying again, like, doing like little things like that and being able to justify like, dude, if you have your meals, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Right, you didn't destroy a month and a half worth of progress, and we did end up getting some hamburgers after that, or some cheeseburgers after that, and that was great. That was great, and actually that was the last meal of the day. I didn't eat anything after that, so really all I had yesterday was coffee. I had a little bit more of that buffalo dip because we took it to the beach, and there was a bunch of chicken in there. I think I put like maybe 10 ounces of chicken in the whole serving, but we had like 2 sheets of it, so. I don't know. I don't know how much protein it really was. But obviously there is the fat and the carbs and stuff. So anyways, my point is that I was just being simplistic, like, just eat it, like it's not going to break my grind or break everything that I've done. So anyway, that was just a little bit of a recap of, this past week and the weekend. And, like I said, I just wanted to really just apply some of those concepts into practice and how I did it, and hopefully you guys can do it as well. Maybe it's your next meal, if you're thinking about your cheat meal, or you're thinking about whatever, just plan it out. Plan out what you're gonna have. If you know that you're not gonna track it, be like, okay, I've been good this whole week, I'm not necessarily gonna track this one, but just be mindful, like, you can't have 3 meals of cheeseburgers. You can't have like 3 cheeseburgers, like, just be like, I'm just gonna have one, and I'm going to share a French fry or something. I know that I was active in the day, right? So kind of give yourself the grace, but be smart about it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I approach those meals at Black Angus. Okay, I'm just going to eat half. Right? I'm going to save it for later. I don't have to finish the whole thing. I don't need to be disgustingly full when I'm eating this, And that was a real hard one for me, like I mentioned. So anyways, just want to give you guys a little bit of an update. Appreciate y'all for sticking around. Other than that, I'll catch y'all a little bit later. All right, y'all.